comes to his politics, he made it very clear before he became president by his picks for the cabinet. He picked the secretary, George Bush's Secretary of Defense, Robert Gates. Now, all the people that were yelling Bush war criminal and demanding his impeachment, you then pick the war
same
criminal.
exact person,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Right.
Now, I'll tell you one very distinctive thing about Obamania, as it were, all right? It's out there among the people. It is not among the journalists. I congratulate the whole journalistic world from left to right. I mean, they, all of a sudden he appeared in front of them and they had to do research and they've checked him out and they don't trust him as far as they can throw the island of Manhattan, all right? He has changed so many positions from one to the other, etc. And they don't trust him like some guys interviewed him with regards to,
Well, he is an incredibly charismatic figure.
Oh, no, again, that's projection. In other words, obviously there are all kinds of people who wanted Bush out of power.
Right.
All right? The idea of a black president, oh my God.
The timing, it was perfect.
All right. But, as I say, his politics, like, for example, all the guys who are specializing on Afghanistan, all right, say, guess what? Okay? You got problems, Mr. Afghanistan ain't nothing but problems, okay?
Right.
Now, let me just throw something in that just happened, all right? Richard Holbrooke was just appointed as Obama's representative for Afghanistan,
Right, special envoy
Okay.
kind of person, yes.
His wife, Holbrooke's wife, Cathy Martin, did a book on the assassination of Count Folk Bernadotte by the Stern Gang, the Israeli Zionist outfit, all right? And she interviewed me, and I'm, and I'd like to thank Lenni Brenner, et cetera, all right? So I've been following Holbrooke, et cetera, all right?
Okay.
Okay. Now, he did a lot of negotiation in Yugoslavia. All
Right.
But that was nothing compared to Afghanistan.
Right.
Yeah.
And now let me just toss something out. Many years after the Vietnam War, by accident, I happened to come across a pile of magazines put out by the War College at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. When you go to West Point, you graduate, you're a big hole lieutenant with a bachelor's degree in law or engineering, and that's it, okay? After they take you seriously and they think you might become a general, they send you to the War College.
Okay.
Okay?
That's like the postgraduate.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Right.
this is it. I mean, all right.
Sure.
And they did a bunch of articles right after the Vietnam War, and they said, look, guys, we call ourselves professional soldiers. And we, with the biggest army, strongest army in the world, lost in Vietnam. If we don't figure out how come we lost, we ain't professional soldiers. It is as simple as that, okay? And they figured it out. And what it was is they came to the conclusion that they all had read Karl von Clausewitz, his book on war, in West Point, and ignored what he had to say, which was, of course, war is nothing but the continuation of politics by other means.
Right.
They said, this is them, the War College. Guys, we took over the leftover French colonial regime in South Vietnam from the French, and everything we did, nothing we could do, it didn't matter. In the eyes of everybody in Vietnam, every Vietnamese, we were the leftover colonial regime, and we couldn't have won with that. That's like being for King George III
Right.
in America.
There you go.
You're losing.
Didn't get the Mohawks too
All right.
far.
Now, in the case of Afghanistan, and which is, understand, Obama says he wants to make this his signature war, all right?
Yeah.
There's only one little problem with that. We are in Afghanistan because way back in 1979, Jimmy Carter, Democrat,
Yeah.
Democrat, and Zbigniew Brzezinski, all right?
Yeah.
And Madeleine Albright, two anti-communist refugees from Eastern Europe. And
Sure.
this is important. All right? They convinced Jimmy Carter to arm the Islamic fundamentalists in Afghanistan, and they went and got their good pals, the Saudis, to help along, and, you know, a bunch of them fellows came along, and eventually they won, all right? And the next thing you know is, a few years later, 9/11. Do not misunderstand me. Jimmy Carter did not cause 9/11,
Right.
all right?
The 93 bombing first try,
All
then
right.
9/11.
But the name of the game is what the United States was looking for in 1979. Obama's party, I emphasize that.
Democratic.
The
Yeah, I'm
Democratic
bringing it
Party.
up to now. all
Okay.
right? Okay. What they were looking for was a commie basher. Okay. They were not interested in taking away rights of Afghan women that the Soviets had granted.
Sure.
Nothing like that. But they needed a commie basher, all right? And there they were, the Islamic fundamentalists.
Sure.
Okay. There's only one little problem. When you back a commie basher and he wins, you think he's working for you, but he thinks you're
working for him.
him, all right? Okay, now I'll give you two other of these looking for the commie basher
Uh-huh.
things, okay? Once upon a time in a country called Germany in 1929, there was a depression, just sort of like the one we're having now, you know?
Yeah.
Okay?
I remember it.
All right, okay.
It's in the movies.
And all of a sudden, there you go. Great German movie. Yeah, all right. And all of a sudden, the German capitalist class were looking for a commie basher because 1 out of 8 voters in Germany was already a commie. And you had the Social Democrats, so between them, they were 48% of the vote.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and Hitler had 2.5%, but he was their local Mussolini.
Sure.
A Mussolini wannabe.
Right.
So they backed him. And again, they weren't thinking about killing any Jews, the German capitalists, because at that time, 29% of all of the population in New York City was Jewish, which meant the business population was
Yeah.
Jewish,
Right,
okay?
right.
So you're not killing Jews. You want to sell to them Jews in
Yeah, yeah, right.
and in
Who
Poland.
they're doing business with. It
Doing
wasn't
business.
good for business.
Yeah.
But things didn't work out that way.
But they had to back a commie basher, all right? And when he came to power, you thought you were helping me, but thank you for helping me. Now I'm in power, right? And to bring it again immediately up to date and to challenge our man here, Obama,
Mm-hmm.
the Israelis in around 1978-79 decided that PLO outfit, they're too secular and people are listening to them. It sounds like democracy and separation of religion and state, all that.
Sure.
Jefferson and Madison. So there's them fellows over there. Hamas, is it? Yeah. Okay. And they started helping them along. Okay.
The Israelis?
Oh, yeah. And
Oh.
in
Yes.
fact, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
The Wall Street Journal had a big article on it on the weekend, this weekend. Okay. Now, I knew about it long ago,
Sure.
but
But isn't that interesting?
oh, yeah. In other words, see, what's begun to happen now is that they're looking, the media, not the public. The public knoweth not their left hand from their right. That's in the Bible. No, 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 no.